Lesson 1-9, perimeter, circumference, and area. So we got our three shapes, rectangle, square, circle. Okay, so rectangle. Perimeter of a rectangle. The formula for perimeter. And remember, perimeter, you're adding all of the sides, but there's a specific formula for the perimeter of a rectangle. And I introduced this last year in Algebra 1 when we had to do the story problems. Okay, we have two lengths that are the same, right? So you can write that as 2L. We have two widths that are the same. That's 2W. There's your perimeter. Area is just specifically length times width. Okay, so there's your rectangle. Square. All sides are the same, so you can take all four sides and multiply it by the side length. So 4 times whatever the side length is. There is your perimeter. Area, same thing, only with a square. We have all four sides are congruent, so you can take your S and square it. Okay, so you can just do S squared on that one. Circle. Perimeter of a circle is called the circumference. The area around the circle is called circumference. So circumference of a circle is either 2 pi r if you're given a radius, or pi diameter if you're given the diameter. Radius, half the length from the center to any type of outer point of that circle is your radius. The full line across, so across this whole entire way, would be your diameter. Okay, radius is half of the diameter of that circle. So what I'm looking for when you are doing these problems, because geometry again is all about proving, all about the proof. So each problem is worth 6 points. And here's how each problem is worth 6 points. The very first thing I want you to write is the formula. That's your very first thing for every single one of those. That's a point. Come on, how hard is that? Second thing, that's where you plug in. Okay? So you got your formula, and then you're going to plug in. Third thing, solve. And make sure you use units. Okay? Make sure we've used those units. So those are the three things I'm looking for. So what that looks like. If this rectangle is a 5 by 11, for instance, it's a 5 by 11, I would go perimeter is 2L plus 2W. Plug in. 2, what's my length? 11. What's my width? So this would be 22 plus 10, 32 units. To do the area, you'd do length times width. Plug in, 5 times 11, solve, 55, and these are units squared, right? Because that is how you do area. Those are square units. And same goes for square. I'm not going to show an example of that one. And then circle. Circle, we're going to leave in terms of pi. So let's say my radius was 7 inches. So I would write it as circumference equals 2 pi r. So it'd be 2 pi times 7. What's 2 times 7? So this would be 14 pi inches. Leave it. Okay, unless they specifically tell you to write the decimal, always try to leave these in terms of pi. Okay, pi 3.14159, the never-ending number. Okay, and area. Oh, I forgot to do area up here. Area is pi r squared. Okay, forgot to do the area formula. Area is pi r squared. So area is going to be pi r squared. So it would be pi, radius is 7 squared. 7 squared is 49, so that'd be 49 pi inches squared. Okay, so there's how you find all of those areas, perimeters, circumferences. And that's what I want for every single one of those problems. Formula, plug in, solve. And the reason why I ask you to do all of that stuff, because then you're starting to memorize those formulas. Just like doing the distance formula and the midpoint formula yesterday, the more you do it, the more those formulas stick in your mind when you write them down. Okay, so when I write them up here on the board, like even last year, I had some of the kids in my last period class, they're like, oh my gosh, we remember this. That's what I want. I want you to remember this stuff. That's important, especially when you're taking your standardized tests. So there it is, and your assignment's up on the